I'll start by just mentioning that there's concern for Everson and the Griffin family. As a teammate right now, just praying that everything will be okay, and it's about all we can do right now. So just want to acknowledge that and understand. We've got another challenging opponent on the road this week, going to San Francisco. It's a football team I have a lot of respect for. Obviously, playing them in the playoffs a couple of years ago, I thought they did a really good job against us. I think they have a lot of talent. I think they're well coached. I think they're just a sound football team that'll beat you up, run the football well, and control line of scrimmage. And so we have to be able to hang with them in that way. So it'll be a good challenge for us. And I'll take any questions you have.
Obviously you have a job to do, but what's the feeling around the team right now with this Everson situation ongoing and not being resolved yet?
We were just praying for him and his family, and letting professionals handle it from there.
Do you look back at the playoff game at all, or you just kind of put that in the past, or try to learn anything new from what happened that day?
I think there's value in any number of games you can watch, and I don't see why the playoff game wouldn't be thrown into that catalog. But there's certainly a lot of film you can watch to try to get a feel for what they do.
How's the defense changed with the defense coordinator is now the head coach of the Jets?
Yeah, I think as personnel changes, as the league changes, I think everybody kind of evolves. So, even playing, Seattle Seahawks over the years, who were somewhat the originator of the style of defense that has permeated the league in a lot of different organizations. Even Seattle, I would say, has evolved too, where the defense I would talk about in 2012 or 13 is maybe not that same defense now, even though a lot of the same coaches, in theory would be the same scheme. So I would say San Francisco is probably a similar comparison, where as the years go on, you sort of evolve and adapt to your personnel and to the league and how offenses are attacking you. And so there are some differences, but obviously you also understand that the foundation is what it is.
Kirk, you kind of mentioned the playoff game. What do you just remember? I mean, you had the resounding victory at New Orleans, and then it was kind of a thud in San Francisco. How tough of a taste did that leave, that particular game, and then lingering into the offseason?
Yeah, I remember San Francisco did a great job against us. They played a great game, and they were the better team that day.
Is it interesting? I mean, both teams after that season, slipped last year and were slipping at the start of this year, but are kind of getting going again. I mean, do you see some similarities from that standpoint at all? I mean, they started out 3-5, and playing good ball. You guys started out 3-5, playing good ball.
Yeah, I think both football teams are good football teams with good football players and well coached, and prioritize winning at the line of scrimmage and running the football, and stopping the run and rushing the passer. And I think there are a lot of priorities that are similar.
Kirk, what does Kyle Shanahan do to try to make life easy for his quarterbacks?
I think he does a great job, first of all, running the football, and I think he does a great job being multiple and how he presents his offense to a defense with motions and shifts and fly motions and personnel groupings. And I think he can just do a good job staying varied and multiple, and ultimately just being creative with the plan to keep people off balance.
You guys had a lot of success with Adam and Justin on the same side of the formation last week, it seemed like. What does that do for you? How does that help attack defenses?
I think it's just trying to be varied. I don't think we try to overdo that or not do it at all. I think it's something you sprinkle in and see how defenses choose to defend it. But you ultimately just sort of react to how they're being defended and go where your reads take you.
Kirk, you've had a lot of success with that deep sideline fade to Justin. That was a throw you also excelled at with Diggs. What are the ingredients to making that throw work with you and then with the receiver?
You certainly want to get the right coverage, the right matchup, the right opportunity, and then you want to make an accurate throw and give your receiver a chance to make a play on the ball. And then you also need your receiver to separate or win or adjust to the football, and I think that's about it.
When you have a guy like Justin, we see it last week, or we've seen it on some of the sideline catches that Sam's mentioned, that can separate almost vertically and get up and get over a guy. How much does that change your calculation of whether I can throw it or how open he is when you're making the decision?
I think it's important, to give him a chance, put the ball in the air long enough where he can adjust to it. There are times, too, where throwing him a line drive, he's really good at reacting to that as well and kind of beating the defensive back to the spot as well. So it would seem that anytime you repeat yourself enough, a defense will catch on to it, and then you'll get exposed. So I think it's important that you're always evolving, you're always varied, and you're not overly predictable in how you're going to attack a defense. And so I think that's where a player who can do a lot of different things becomes very valuable.
It's something when the receiver's able to draw DPI and affect the offense in a way of giving you guys a nice advantage. Is that something you guys like work on in practice for them to sell it? Like or is that just like a natural thing? Throw your arm up, things like that.
I'm sure there's some gamesmanship across the league in terms of trying to, sell penalties. You see defensive linemen too, when they realize they can't get to a running back as they're running the sideline, they're going to throw their arms up and act like they're getting held. So I think that's just kind of a part of football. But you want to coach and detail as much as you possibly can and leave no stone unturned. So every element of the game you want to talk about and have a plan for and feel like, we're doing this because we're coached to do it. We have an old saying that's, what you see on the film is what we coach or let happen. So either we're allowing it to happen or we're coaching it and making it happen. And certainly you want to be on the proactive side of, making it happen.
Coach Emmer talked again about your guys' weekly sessions, how you talk and what have you, and maybe you give an update on how productive those have been, and when do you usually have them during the week, how long do they last, and that kind of thing.
We just watch third downs on Thursday, and gives us a chance to talk football, for me to ask questions, learn from him from a defensive perspective, and I think it's been really interesting to learn from him in a more structured way every week when it comes to having that set time.
Basically giving you the green light to sort of be as aggressive as you were on Sunday going forward and to live with interceptions if they come along. Is that liberating to hear from the head coach?
Well, I don't want to throw picks, even if the coach gave me the green light to. He'll say, I don't want to walk out the field and feel good about it. So I'm still pretty much playing the way I've always played. And certainly I don't feel constrained by any means. And but you still are very, systematic, decisive, and you understand when you hold the football, you hold much of the organization, in your hands, and so you want to, take that seriously.
Kirk, regarding the center spot, what's it like transitioning between different centers, and can you keep switching them? I mean, if there's competition during practice, or is it a position where, for continuity, you got to kind of stick with one guy if both guys are healthy?
I think it's similar to any other position where you'd love to have the same, 11 players on offense all season long your whole career. But it's certainly not the norm or reality, and so you learn to adapt and you learn to expect the unexpected. And I think both of them are really good players, really good offensive linemen, and are going to have great careers up ahead. And it's certainly a benefit to us as a team to have that kind of depth at that position.
On the topic back to being bold, at the end of the game, the Justin Jefferson touchdown, I think his final one, it was 3rd and 3. It was an all-out blitz, I think. You got hit, I think, by Darnell Savage. It was 3rd and 3. There are players that might have been open beyond the sticks, and you still chose for the touchdown shot with Jefferson. What goes into that where it looks like that could be, a risky play that nevertheless paid off?
It's pretty systematic because of the all-out blitz, as you mentioned. It kind of dictates where you go with the football, because you need a route that you feel good about against cover zero. You need to have a route that's a quick enough element that you can throw it versus cover zero. And you also need to be aware of dropping defensive ends, to some other routes. So just felt like that was my best opportunity, whether it's 4th and 1, 4th and 10. That probably was my best opportunity versus cover zero with the concept we had. And so that's, a decision you kind of talk through and study and work through when you talk about studying the game plan on a day like today, so that when you get in those situations, you've kind of already, prepared and covered it, so when the moment happens, you can just play out of instinct.
When you go against Shanahan, does he know a lot about you, or you know a lot about him, or how does that matchup go?
We haven't worked together since 2013, so it has been a long time. Obviously, you study him since then, and I've gone back and watched my tape with him, in 2012 and 13 to continue to try to learn. Great football coach, and he's worth studying. And I can't speak to his sense of familiarity with me, but certainly have a lot of respect for him as a coach and the way he's led his team in San Francisco now for several years. All right, thank you.